All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of ethical hacking. We're essentially going on a digital heist, step by step. And our blueprint for breaking in? It comes from Sarang Tumna's book, Practical Red Teaming. The whole point, though, is learning how to break in so we can build much, much better defenses. In this quote, right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it. This isn't about creating chaos for the sake of it. It's about controlled deconstruction. See, ethical hackers or red teamers, they have to know how to break systems, find all the cracks, so they can turn around and teach everyone else how to make them stronger. It's a beautiful kind of paradox.
So, every good heist story starts with a plan, right? Before anyone makes a move, we have to understand the who and the why. So first things first, we've got to learn how to think like an attacker.
So what exactly is cyber red teaming? Honestly, think of it like a full-contact security fire drill. An organization literally hires a team of experts to launch a simulated, full-scale cyber attack against them. They use the very same tactics, techniques, and procedures, the TTPs, that real hackers would use, all to see if the company's defenses can actually take the hit. The goal is simple: find every single weakness before the bad guys do.
And this brings us to the two sides of this whole operation. You've got the red team, they're our crew of good guy burglars hired to test the bank's security. And then you have the blue team. They're the guards on patrol, actively looking for intruders, trying to detect and stop the red team at every turn. It's this constant, high-stakes game of cat and mouse, and it's all designed to make sure the company's data, the treasure in the vault, is as safe as it can possibly be.
All right, on to the next step, casing the joint. You know, every successful operation, whether you're robbing a bank or hacking a network, it doesn't start with a bang. It starts with a whisper. It's all about that careful, meticulous planning and research. So how does a hack actually start? Well, it begins with a phase called reconnaissance. This is where the attacker basically becomes a digital detective, quietly gathering every little scrap of information they can find about their target. This whole process really breaks down into two main steps. First, there's footprinting. That's like getting the digital blueprints of the target, their domain names, their IP addresses, even details about their employees. Then comes scanning. This is literally like walking around the digital building and checking every single door and window to see if anything is unlocked or has a weak latch.
And here's the real kicker. A huge amount of this initial information is just out there. It's public. Anyone can find it. This is what's known as open source intelligence, or OSINT. By just digging through LinkedIn, company websites, news articles, even leaked password databases, an attacker can build an incredibly detailed profile of a company without setting off a single alarm.
The planning's done. The blueprints have been studied. Now, it's time to make a move. This is that really tense moment where the attacker switches from just watching to actively trying to get that first critical foothold inside the network.
One of the most common ways in is an attack called password spraying. Now, instead of trying thousands of different passwords on one person's account, which would probably lock it out, the attacker does something much cleverer. They take a small list of really common passwords, think password 123 or summer 2024, and they try them against hundreds or even thousands of different user accounts. It's like trying a few common keys on every single door in the building. Eventually, one of them is bound to work. And this is exactly why all that early detective work is so pivotal. The success of this first breach, getting that first key to turn in a lock, depends almost entirely on the quality of the reconnaissance. That list of employee emails you found on LinkedIn, that's the fuel for this whole attack.
We're in. But getting past that front door, that was just the beginning. Now the real challenge starts. Navigating the huge internal maze of the corporate network to find the crown jewels, all while staying completely invisible to the blue team.
So, to move around, hackers absolutely love to use tools that are already part of the system. Their favorite digital multi-tool, PowerShell. And why? Well, because it's a super powerful scripting tool that comes installed on pretty much every Windows computer on the planet. It's a trusted part of the environment, so its activity is way less likely to raise suspicion. It's the ultimate way to live off the land.
And with PowerShell, an attacker can do almost anything. They can jump from one computer to another, a technique we call lateral movement. They can execute code directly in a computer's memory, which leaves no trace on the hard drive. And crucially, they can start hunting for even more credentials.
Because that's the name of the game in this phase.
The attacker uses tools like PowerShell to do something called credential dumping, which is basically ripping all the usernames and passwords stored in a computer's memory. And each new password they find, well, that's a new key. A key that could unlock more sensitive systems and get them that much closer to the main vault.
All right, this is it. This is the climax of our digital heist. After moving silently through the maze, collecting keys along the way, our red teamer finally has their sights set on the ultimate prize, the very heart of the organization's entire network.
And that ultimate goal is almost always the same thing: gaining complete control of the Active Directory, or AD. This is the central command and control center for the entire corporate network.
But why? Why is that so important? What makes Active Directory the one target to rule them all?
It's because, as Tsering Tumne so perfectly puts it, AD is the heart, soul, and mind of the network. It manages every single user, every computer, and every permission. It dictates who can access what. So if you control Active Directory, you control everything. It's not just breaking into one vault. It's getting the master key to every single vault in the entire bank.
And once an attacker compromises Active Directory, it's game over. Seriously. They can create their own all-powerful administrator accounts, access any file, read any email, and even lock out the real IT staff. It is a complete and total network takeover.
And this brings us right back to why red teaming is so incredibly important. The attackers, the real ones, are always evolving, always finding new tools, new ways to pick the locks. The only way to even have a chance of staying ahead is to think just like they do, to constantly test your own defenses in this never-ending, high-stakes game.
So I'll just leave you with this one thought. We've just walked through the complex, relentless process that the good guys have to use just to help companies stay safe. If this is what it takes for them to stay prepared, how prepared are you and your data for the real thing? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.